What's better than having one form of dot damage? That's right, two forms of dot damage. And with Season 20 and the new Neomuna fusion rifle, the iterative loop, we were able to make that happen because this fusion rifle has voltshot. And then you can go ahead and choose whatever exotic you want, witherhoard, or the gamer move, anarchy, which is what we're going to be using in today's video. Along with our other weapon, we are going to be using a bait and switch demolitionist deliverance from the Vow of the Disciple raid to shoot in between throwing our fusion grenades. Now, because in most situations, you can't just be running around with two fusion rifles, something else that's going to come in handy a lot for this type of setup is going to be a good trace rifle. I recommend either a Hull Denial, which if you can't get, I would just say go for the Acacia's Ejection, aka the Rude Nightmares trace rifle, which can roll with Reconstruction and Paracausal Affinity, for example. And if you have a Hull Denial, just make sure you got lead from gold on that bad boy. This way you have a weapon to shoot adds a little bit with in between damage phases, whether you're doing a mechanic, for whatever you're doing, having a good trace rifle and a double special setup, it's just good. But for any big time damage against a big boss, that's when we whip out the two fusion rifles, get the frying pan, heat up the stove, and start cooking, baby. And if you're not using anarchy and you are using witherhoard, just keep it simple, bro, and put on a rocket launcher. Hothead, blowout, bump of the night, to name the most popular options. Now, there are other good rockets out there, yes, but the reason why I mentioned those three in particular and why I'm stressing the anarchy in this situation so that we can stack our surges together and keep the elements of our weapons mostly the same so that all of our weapons are getting buffs from the surges. For example, in the clips that you're watching, I'm using two arc surges and a stasis surge. Hothead and blowout are both arc, so that matches your voltshot fusion rifle's energy type, and of course so is anarchy. We're also using a stasis surge for our bait and switch deliverance. Just keep in mind, if you go with the witherhoard, the iterative loop, and then the bump in the night, you would have to put on kinetic surge, stasis surge, and an arc surge, and they would only get 10%. Where in this situation, both voltshot fusion and the anarchy are getting 17%, and our deliverance is getting an additional 10%. Alright, so now that you have a decent understanding of what we're doing with our weapons, let's go ahead and actually talk a bit about the subclass, although it's nothing too crazy. It's a starfire build, so obviously you're going to want to have your empowering rift. We're going to be using, of course, your touch of flame and then Icarus dash, whatever melee you prefer. Always run the burst glide. We have Ember of Searing to help us make fire sprites, and the bonus to recuv is nice, but that's also going to compound really well with Ember of Mercy, to where every time we pick up a fire sprite, we're going to get ourselves some restoration, as well as you'll also get restoration every time you pick up an ally, which is nice, and so will your buddy that you revive. Of course, we're running Ember of Resolve, Solar Grenade Final Blows cure you, it's free healing with your fusion grenades, who doesn't want that, and then Ember of Ashes for more scorch stacks. And this goes without saying, but Well of Radiance for your super. Of course, I'm going to be leaving a dim link to this at the top of the description. If you just want to click that, it'll go ahead and set you up with what you got and what you need. Let me just also say that if you have to be tractor guy and apply a debuff for your team, this is a great setup to do it with. Even though you'll be losing your dot from your anarchy, you'll still have at least one dot from your voltshot fusion. And of course, your bait and switch will still be proc, so you can still continue to shoot with your deliverance and throw those fusion grenades while supplying you and everybody else a good old 30% debuff to whatever enemy you're doing damage to. And everyone likes that. Let's also do a quick debriefing on the mods, even though it's really simple. The big heavy hitters are going to be your surges for your weapons, firepower to make orbs. Go ahead, maybe slide on a siphon mod of your choice, one that would preferably match your trace rifle that you're using, and then go ahead and fill your helmet up with 2 ashes to assets so you can get your Well of Radiance back as fast as you can. For the chest piece that you're going to be wearing, I would just put on a resist mod, maybe concussive dampener, and a charged up. Make sure you have a reserve chest piece that you rally with on hand. And then for the class item, bro, just go ahead, put on some elemental time dilation, slap on a special finisher, you should be good to go, brother. And then none of the artifact mods really affect the build too much. They're just nice quality of life experiences, such as cheaper grenade mods, cheaper solar mods, volatile flow, bricks from beyond, and then I will say shatter orbs and the fire sprite mod are a great combo that work together to allow you to fully proc your armor charge, especially with the help of firepower. But really, bro, you could go with whatever artifact mods you want. They don't affect the build too much. And that covers everything that we need to talk about. Whenever we do get the starfire nerf, I will do an updated version of the setup. It is part of the reason why we do have 2 dots to try and get the grenades back as fast as we can, and we'll definitely feel the effects of that next season whenever the starfire nerf does hit. Let me know your thoughts on the build and the setup down below in the comments, maybe any changes or tweaks you would make to it. Thank everybody for sticking with me for the full 4 minutes. There was a bit to go over, and I appreciate your time. Consider giving the subscribe button a little love tap. We'll see you on the next one. Y'all be safe.